Good morning. Welcome to Gentle Yoga. My name is Lydia, and I'll be guiding you through this gentle practice this morning. If you'd like to grab a few blocks, they might be helpful in this practice. We're going to use one to put under the seat, and you can sit cross-legged here, or you can even sit in a diamond posture. If this is a little more comfortable for you, you can bring the block in between your legs and just sit back on the block, even a couple of blocks, whatever works for you. So the idea is to bring your hips slightly higher than your knees, which helps to bring the spine into more of a neutral alignment. So check here and make sure that you're not arching your back. You can start to tuck your tailbone slightly. Lift up through the crown of your head and draw your shoulders back and down. So just relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. And from here, maybe starting to notice the quality of your breath. So you can bring your eyes to a nice soft gaze toward the floor, or even close your eyes, and we'll go through some breathing here. Just in and out through the nose. And from here, just beginning to notice whether or not the breath gets stuck at the top of your inhale or at the bottom of your exhale. And not trying to change the breath, but just becoming aware of what's happening with the breath. From here, moving into a 3-part breathing. On your next inhale, start to fill your belly. Allow your rib cage to expand and notice the chest rise. And we'll reverse that on the exhale. So chest will lower, the ribs will hug, and you'll just gently draw the navel toward the spine. Keep going here with this breathing pattern. Inhaling, filling all the way up. Exhaling, gently drawing the navel toward the spine. And starting to slow the breath down here, maybe even allowing that exhale to become slightly longer than the inhale. from here, slowly starting to blink the eyes open. Take a nice deep inhale and exhale through the mouth. So if you need to adjust your seat here, because we are going to stay seated for a moment, you want to if you're sitting cross-legged and you want to switch the leg that's on top or the foot that's on top, you can. Breath, and just start to notice any areas of tightness in the neck and shoulders. And maybe start to send your breath to those tight areas. Make your way back to center. Inhale the head up. This time we're just going to turn to look over the right shoulder. And then exhale and start to gaze toward the mat. So we're opening up the left side of the neck here and down into the shoulder. And as I said before, as you breathe, while you're inhaling, see if you can start to open up those tight areas on your inhale. So you're sending your breath to that tight area, exhaling and allowing it to release. Inhale the head back up, turn back towards center. Exhale, looking over left shoulder this time. Turn to gaze toward your mat. Opening up the right side of the neck and shoulder, moving down into the shoulder here. Breathing. Inhale the head back up and come back to center from here. Let's just give a few shoulder rolls, back and forward. From here, we're going to bring the hands to the shoulders and we'll do some circles. So exhaling as you draw your elbows together, inhaling as you open up. And then reverse that. This time, we're going to alternate sides. So just keep a nice steady breath here. We're doing the ducky backstroke. And then come forward this time, circling forward. We're just starting to break through any cracking or popping that you might hear in the shoulders. It's perfectly normal. And release. Shake out the hands for just a moment. From here, we're just going to bring the hands together Interlace the fingers, forearms are nice and close together best you can. Lift the elbows and start to make some circles with the wrists. Just one direction, nice steady breath here. Keep breathing. Switch directions. Inhale, press through the palms, start to round through the shoulders and maybe bring your chin to chest for just a moment. Release. Re-interlace the fingers behind you and start to press down through the tops of the hands. Inhaling, lifting up through the heart. Maybe look up if it feels okay to the neck and shoulders. Otherwise, just keep your gaze forward. Breathe. And release. Let's go ahead and come off of the block or bolster, whatever you have under your seat here. And let's go ahead and extend the legs out in front. And it feels good to maybe lean back into the hands, lift up through the heart, and start to shake out the leg bone from the hip socket. So just shaking out the legs from sitting for that long. And then point and flex the feet a few times. From here, we're going to scoot the leg bone back into the hip socket. So you're going to make your way into a nice staff posture. So from here, flex your feet, sit up nice and tall, and you can bring your hands beside your hips, and we'll start to make some circles with the ankles. Breathe. See if you can spread your toes really nice and wide here. This can feel, and start to bring some energy through the legs, spreading the toes, switching directions. All right, so from here, maybe shake it out one more time. And from here, we're just going to cross the right ankle over the left thigh. So we'll come here and we're just going to start to massage the bottom of the foot. So you're just going to move up and down the bottom of the foot, the sole of your foot. Continue a nice steady breath here. And then making some circular motions around the heel. And then spreading the toes nice and wide. Just working between each toe, spreading the toes. And then paying attention to maybe the bones in the top of the foot and massaging in between those bones. So that starts to open up some lines of energy for you as well. Keep breathing. And then from here, you can maybe interlace your fingers in between the toes, and we'll make some circles with the ankles here. And switch directions. Release. Give a little rub around that right knee, so some circular motions around your right knee. Showing the knee some love this morning. And go ahead and re-extend that right leg. Before we move over to the left side, we're going to just use the hands to make some circular motions around the hip joint on the right side. So just gently breathing here, circular motions around the right hip. And then up and down, moving up and down the outside of that right thigh. And sometimes it can feel good to maybe just a few pats up and down that leg right there. And let's do the other side. So you're going to cross your left ankle over the right thigh this time. And we're going to start by just massaging up and down the sole of the left foot. Keep breathing. Just using this this morning to do some self-care. Really paying attention to any aches, any tightness in the body, and just giving yourself a little love. So some circular motions around the heel. And then again, spreading the toes nice and wide. And paying attention to those bones on the top of the foot, maybe massaging in between each of those bones on the top of the foot, helping to open up those lines of energy. And placing fingers in between your toes will make some circular motions with the ankle here. In both directions. From here, moving to the knee, making some nice circular motions around the knee joint. And then extend your left leg. We're going to move right over to the left hip. And we're using hands to just make some circular motions around the hip joint. And then up and down the outside of that left thigh. And then some pats up and down the leg here. All right, from here, go ahead and bend your knees, swing your feet around, and let's come into a tabletop position. So in your tabletop, you want to bring your hands under your wrists and your knees directly under your hip bones. And we'll just work on some spinal movement here. So we'll start with cat and cow movements. So spread your fingers nice and wide. Inhale and look towards the top of your mat. Exhale, draw your navel in. Inhale, start to lift up through the heart, look forward. Exhale, chin to chest, around the spine. Inhale, neutral. Exhale, draw the navel in. Inhale, lift up through the heart, look forward. Exhale, chin to chest, round the spine, tuck the tailbone. And let's do that one more time. All right, once you make it through your last round, we'll start to make some circular motions here. You're gonna inhale as you come towards the top of your mat. Exhale as you circle around, sinking the hips towards the heels. Inhale forward, exhale around, hips to heels. Let's do maybe 2 more rounds on this side, and then we'll switch directions. All right, switching directions. Keep moving. And back to neutral. From here, inhaling, looking towards the top of the mat. Exhale, sink it back. So we'll just do a few rounds of table to child. And keep your arms extended so that your ears come into alignment with the arms. Inhale, table. Exhale, child. Inhale, table. Exhale, child. One more time. Inhale to table. Exhale to child. And then inhale back to tabletop position. From here, we're going to do some opposite limb extensions. So you're going to step your right foot to the back of your mat and leave the ball of your foot on your mat here, okay? Nice strong arms and nice strong legs here. Core is nice and tight, so when you think about bringing your navel towards your spine and keeping the belly engaged, on your next inhale, you're just going to inhale left arm, fingertips towards the opposite side of the room. And we're going to take 2 breaths here. Exhale, release. Bring your right knee back down to the mat. And we'll do the opposite side. So stepping back with the left foot, keep your the left ball of your foot on your mat. Check yourself here. Make sure your core is continuously engaged. And on your next inhale, extend that right arm. Fingertips towards the opposite side of the room. Gaze is towards the mat. Breathe. Exhale, release. Bring the knee back down to the mat. Maybe sit back on your heels for just a moment and shake out the hands, just to release a little tension in the wrists. And maybe a little massage for the hands and circular motions around the wrists. That can feel good. And then maybe interlacing fingers. Let me turn this way for you. So interlacing fingers and then starting to pull the fingers apart. Breathe here. One more time. Shake it out. And let's go ahead and make our way into standing. So we're going to come up to standing. I'm just going to adjust my frame here, make sure you can see all of me. All right. Hopefully my head's not cut off. Anyway, so from here, we're going to maybe come to middle of the mat. And I'm just going to turn to face you for a moment so you can see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to bring my hands to my hips, and I want my feet to be maybe a little more than hip distance apart. And I'm going to spread my toes nice and wide, and I can put a slight bend in my knee here. That's okay. I'm bringing hands to hips, and I may even bring hands to the top of my hips here, or start to draw the elbows together, or something else you can do is to interlace hands behind you and maybe start to grab the forearms or the elbows with the hands. So whatever feels good to you. We're going to start to make some circular motions with the hips. So we're doing some hip circles here. Feet are a little wider than hip distance, and we're just going to start to inhale, press the hips forward, exhale, back. So let me turn to the side so you can see this. I like to do this nice and slow. You can do it as quickly as you like, as whatever feels good to you. But I think moving slowly through this, you really start to feel and notice those tight areas in the hips. And one side may feel a little different from the other. Maybe you have a little more tightness on one side than you do the other. And then switch directions. Each time you press your hips forward, you're starting to open the whole front line of the body. Maybe we'll do a few more on this side. And then back to standing. Release your grip here, and you can start to shake out the legs just a little bit. And since we're standing, we're just going to start to do some, it's called reaching for the stars. So you're going to bring your feet back to hip distance. So hip distance is hip bones down through knees and ankles. Continue to keep the toes spread nice and wide. And what we're going to do here is we're going to start to inhale, reach up with the right hand, actively reach down with the left, scoop. And so we're alternating sides, inhaling as you're reaching up, because we're starting to open up in between all of those intercostal muscles. So the whole side of the body here. Breathe. You might hear some crunching and cracking, perfectly normal. Keep moving through, breaking through those tight areas, opening up the body. A few more times on each side. And release, maybe shake out the hands. Do anything that feels good to you. If you need to shake out the legs, that's okay. You can do that as well. So from here, we're going to maybe try to come into a nice tree pose. So come to feet hip distance, ground down through all four corners of the feet. And from here, you can start to maybe move around on the soles of the feet for just a moment. And here you're just noticing where the points of contact are. So where your feet are actually touching your mat. It's a very small movement, and then maybe a little back and forth. Ground down, hands to hips for just a moment. Slight bend in the knees, draw the shoulders back and down and start to lift up through the crown. And you're just bringing the spine into a nice neutral alignment here. Release the hands. Bring the hands back down by your sides. And from here, we're just going to bring right heel to the left ankle. But before we do, I want you to find a nice point of focus in front of you in the room. So keep your gaze here. Inhale nice and deeply. Exhale slightly longer than your inhale. We're going to place most of the weight into that left foot and start to bring right heel to the left ankle. Breathe here. So maybe you want to challenge yourself a little more. You can start to bring your sole of your foot to calf muscle. Keep your point of focus, and that will help to keep you balanced. And then release. We're going to turn the toes under on the left foot and just start to shake it out a little. That just helps to release any tension in the bottom of the foot. Bringing feet back to hip distance. We're going to do the other side. So again, rocking a little back and forth and maybe making some circular motions here around on the soles of the foot. Find your ground, start to ground down through those feet. And then again, finding your point of focus in the room. Starting to place most of the weight in the right foot. Inhale. Exhale deeply. Nice long exhale here. And then gently bringing left heel to right ankle. So you can stay here. Sometimes this is enough and can be quite challenging. So slight bend in that standing leg can be helpful for balance. Breathe. Maybe releasing the hands down by the sides. Finding your expression of tree pose. From here, bringing, if it feels good to you and you feel like you're nice and balanced, maybe bringing sole of the foot to right calf muscle. So never on the knee here. You don't want to put any pressure on your knee. One more breath. And release. And just here, start to shake out the legs for just a moment. And I'm going to show you a nice, simple way to get into a warrior two pose. So you can start to spread your feet more than hip distance here. And you want to bring your heels out just a little and your toes in slightly, okay? You can put a little bend in the knees. We're gonna come into what is called a 5-pointed star. So from here, you can start to flex through the heel of the hand and just start to open up here. Keep breathing. And then back into arms extended, fingertips pointing to opposite sides of the room. We're going to turn the left toes out. So from here, your heels are in alignment with each other. So heel to heel, they're in a nice straight line. So from here, you're going to start to bend into that left knee. So you can widen your stance if you like, but really just pay attention to your alignment. So you want to start to bend deeply into that left knee so that, and then check to make sure that your knee is not dropping in. Think about drawing it open, even maybe giving it a little nudge to go in the right direction here. You want your knee and your ankle right over top of each other. And then you're starting to press out through the outside edge of that back foot. Gazing over the left fingertips if it feels good to you for one breath. And then from here, inhaling back to standing. Turn the left toes in and bring your hands to your hips for just a moment and give a few shoulder rolls. Sometimes when the shoulders are tight, you know, it can feel a little awkward to keep the arms extended for a while. But just work through any of that tension that you're feeling. Maybe shake out the hands. Do what feels good to you because this is your practice and you're doing what's right for your body. So from here, bringing hands back to hips. Toes are in slightly. Heels are out slightly. On your next inhale, arms come in line with the shoulders. And then we're going to come into that 5-pointed star once more. So you're going to press through the heel of the hand and start to open up once more. Breathe, keep breathing. And then back to fingertips pointing towards opposite sides of the room here. You're going to turn the right toes out this time. Just taking a gaze here, noticing that heels are in line with each other. You can start to look over the right fingertips here, or you can just start to bend into that right knee. Check your alignment. You want most of the weight, you want your weight evenly distributed, but you want to feel that you're pressing down to the outside edge of that back foot, right? And then again, you don't want this right knee to be dropping in. You want to keep it nice and open so that the knee and the ankle are in line with each other. Arms back up, gazing over the right fingertips. One breath here. Inhaling back to standing. Turn the toes in once more. Bring your hands back to your hips. And we're going to start to heel toe our way back to equal standing posture. All right, so from here, let's go ahead and make our way back down to the mat. And we're just going to have a seat here on the mat. Bring your block, place it under your seat. We're going to come into a squatting posture. So you can use whatever you have. If you have a bolster, if you have a nice thick blanket that you can fold, you can use that. So in a squatting posture, if your heels don't make it all the way down to the mat, that's okay. So here's how you can use the block. You can use it under your seat at lowest height if you're able to bring yourself down this far. And we're looking to bring elbows to the inside of the knees and bringing hands to heart center, okay? And you're lifting up through the crown of the head. So if the block at lowest height still isn't working out for you, bring it up, mid-height. Try that. So you're here. Also, when you're in your squatting posture, you want to make sure that you don't want to be here. You want to come here. You want to start to lift up through the crown, okay? And you're lifting up through the heart as well. You're keeping the heart nice and open. You don't want a closed heart. You want your heart nice and open. You're lifting through your crown. If your heels don't make it all the way to the floor, it's okay. We're going to take 2 or 3 breaths here. And release. Make your way all the way back down to where we were at in the beginning of our practice. So if you were sitting cross-legged or even in a diamond posture with that block under your seat. Start to lift up through your crown. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale through the mouth, releasing any tension that still remains in the body. Inhale deeply. Exhale through the mouth, releasing tension. And we're just coming back to a normal breathing pattern. Bringing the hands together here at Heart Center. Thank you all so very much for sharing your yoga practice with me this morning. Peace and blessings to each and every one of you. Namaste.